This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Forbidden Games from 1952, directed by Rene Clement. The tagline for this film, RJ.
Does it have one?
Fantasy was the start. Murder was the finish.
Was it?
Michael is a private investigator with special psychic powers, allowing him to subconsciously see clues in a case. He is hired to investigate the death of the very wealthy Charles, who has a very healthy sum of money going to his wife and daughter. Michael needs to unravel the clues to see if Charles died accidentally or was murdered. There are several characters who may benefit from his death, as well as a mistress and a nude modeling agency.
What? Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When was the nude modeling coming up here?
I was reading Forbidden Games from 1995 from PM Entertainment, which I'm sure is a very fine film, but it's not the film we'll be discussing tonight. The film we'll be discussing tonight is Forbidden Games from 1952.
Gotcha.
How embarrassing.
Actually, when I was looking this movie up, all I could find was porn, and that's why I had to message you on Sunday. And I was like, "Are we watching porn?"
I do believe one can watch Forbidden Games on a website called spankbank.com.
Excuse me? Could you repeat that? What was your name and what's your name and title again? And then repeat that line you had.
The tagline for this film, RJ: War and how it affects the lives of our children. Which one's worse?
Neither are good. Neither.
Orphaned after a Nazi air raid, Paulette, a young Parisian girl, runs into Michel, an older peasant boy, and the two quickly become close. Together, they try to make sense of the chaotic and crumbling world around them, attempting to cope with death as they create a burial ground for Paulette's deceased pet dog. Eventually, however, Paulette's stay with Michel's family is threatened by the harsh realities of wartime.
And what would that be?
Red Cross nurses coming to get you.
Are we in the Red Cross phase now?
Of wartime?
Mm-hmm.
Only when it's manufactured crises. They're completely preventable. I don't know. That I don't have those sort of takes here about World War II. I could talk about other contemporary crises where people come to the rescue, and there's probably orphan children from preventable death. But
oh shit,
that isn't what Forbidden Games from 1952 is all about. So this movie is not on the Criterion channel. This is piece of the Studio Canal films that got removed from the collection ages ago. And weirdly enough, this movie is kind of difficult to track down. And luckily for us, our local university library had a copy waiting for us to view.
Yeah, I set that up. Jarrett was like, maybe we just quit the podcast. And I was like, no, I'll find it. Just give me a second. I'll get it. And I came through, and probably the only reason we're here.
It's very strange. Don't know why this isn't available anywhere.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I was looking under its French title and being like, come on. You usually type in watch free into Google and things just pop up.
So it just is what it is. Is this the first time we've hit something in the Criterion so far that like has given you an active challenge where it's just like
no. Well, I think there's still that one Carl Theodor Dreyer documentary that's like not online at all. That's a few years ago now, but luckily I actually own that box set, so it wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, there's been a few where it's been like pretty touch and go, but I had to realize, search under its foreign title, not its Criterion slave name.
Its dead name.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah. So, Forbidden Games. I went into this movie not knowing too much about it, other than it's reputation, I guess, in the Criterion circles of people who talk about kind of a world film canon. This movie's often listed in there. And I remember being like, Forbidden Games? This sounds tawdry. And then you look up, you're like, oh, it's like kids in fields. Like, what's this about? And then you're like, oh, it's a war movie. I see. Mm-hmm. It's going to be kind of I don't know, contrasting the idyllic childhood with the ravages of war, kind of like that Grave of the Fireflies type deal, right? It's going to be kind of like that.
Oh shit!
It's not.
Maybe
it's not that really. So I kind of went into this blind. I think we've seen some Rene Clement at this point.
We have.
Yeah.
Which other ones? Because I don't remember this dude at all.
Blah, 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 blah. At least I've seen some. I think I've seen something by him before. Look it up. Figure it out, RJ.
Rene Clement?
Yeah. Rene.
Rene.
You got Letterboxd, don't you?
I've only seen one of this person's films.
Okay, maybe I'm the same.
So
maybe I'm thinking of all the other Renes.
I mean, he has a Charles Bronson film, Rider on the Range.
That's the movie I've seen.
Okay.
That's definitely not in the Criterion Collection.
I was gonna say, is that a Criterion film? And he's done some Tati shorts apparently, but I haven't seen that either. You've seen Rider on the Range. You gave it 2.5 stars.
Yep.
Tati shorts. You have not seen Tati.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Purple Noon is a future creep, I think, with what's his name, Alain Delon, who's also in Riders on the Rain.
Is that the Incel Supreme from Les Samurai?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it is.
And he's not in this. Right. Yeah. No, he's not in that movie. There's another Charles Bronson, Alain Delon film.
The Leopard.
But not on this day. No. Not the Leopard.
That dude's in a lot of movies we've seen, by the way. I don't know if you
Burt Lancaster?
Yes.
Okay, that's not Charles Bronson.
Oh. No, Rene Clement. Oh, no, not Rene Clement. Alain Delon.
One day you'll get these names right. One day.
Le Samurai, Le Clez, Le Cirque.
Calm down. Calm down over there. I know you love saying French things so much.
Oy.
So this movie opens up with, I don't know, war crimes being committed. You have,
is it a war crime?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Just war, no?
I don't know. I think just like shooting civilians as they flee is kind of war crimey.
So here's the thing about war crimes that I've never really understood, and I know some sort of like historian will tell me, but isn't most of what you do in war a crime?
No, obviously not, because there's war crimes and then there's war. Is it right or wrong? That's up for debate, RJ. I'm not a war lawyer, though.
My mind is that it's all wrong, so I feel all crimes during wartime is wrong.
Well, that's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh no. Is this going to be like a whole like movie of like harrowing shit? Because I don't know. I have a hard time with emotionally watching this, like, oh, it's going to be a depiction of just like completely innocent people just getting killed by this grinding war machine. In this case, it's the 1940s Paris, falling under the heel of the Blitzkrieg. And so just regular plain folk, they are getting the shit out of there. Far, far away. And then there's just, planes flying overhead. And they're going to drop bombs and shoot at these people because they might have soldiers there. Wink. Yeah, this will be their justification. You just never know. Got to break the will of the people,
That's war, right?
Yeah.
What is it good for? Ugh. See what I did there?
Absolutely nothing, RJ. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, you just have this like kind of train of people all in their vehicles, their wagons being pulled by horses. They're all just trying to get as far away from this conflict as they can. They're fleeing into the countryside, and there's one particular family, mom, dad, their little girl and her pet dog. And they are trying to just like get away. There seems to be no real destination. Everybody's just like in a mad rush to get as far away from the conflict as they can. And because there's one strafing run bombing happens, and the car that's kind of in the lead is this family's. Their jalopy breaks down, and no one's got any patience for this guy to try to fix his car, so they push it off the road. So the family is now going to be stuck on foot the rest of their way wherever they're going to go. So they're making their way along with their like kind of belongings that they grab from the vehicle, and then another strafing comes along as they hit the bridge, and while they're laying low, the little girl's dog runs off, scared.
Unfortunately.
Yep, and of course the little girl just starts running after the dog to go get the dog back, and then the parents are like, "Oh my god!" and they go running after the little girl to get her, and they all kind of catch up with one another, and they hit the deck, and one of these German planes does a big, nice strafing run down the path, loading up mom, dad, and the puppy with ammo, with lead, and they're dead. Little girl's left alive. Puppy is half dead, and I went, "Oh dear." I'm gonna have to hear about this week. So,
well, Jared, I made this my review on Letterboxd, but can I just ask you something?
Do
you remember what Michael Bay's rule was?
Don't kill the kids or the dogs.
Don't kill the dogs. Exactly.
Or the kids. See, you forgot about that. See, you don't care about the kids.
I don't care about the kids.
Well,
I'm just here for the dogs.
I don't know. You haven't said that before.
I mean, I used to think that, but now I only care about animals. All people are bad, so.
Right.
Even the innocent children.
Especially the innocent children.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just bring that out there. That I'm not quite on board with that, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah. So, little girl is carrying around her, like, wounded dog, who is soon dead, replaced with like a stuffed dog, stuffed animal, depending on the occasion. She gets kind of picked up by this older man and woman on a wagon, pull her into the wagon, and they're like, "What are you doing? That dog's dead." And this woman just takes this stuffed dog and just hurls it into the river in front of this little girl. And you're like, good God, this movie.
But then what happens?
Well, another strafing run hits, and then the little girl kind of runs off away from these people and starts running down the river. Catches up with the dog's body, and she fishes it out of the creek. She's kind of lost her way from the caravan, and there's a horse that is like lost its rider and is still dragging its cargo, dragging it around listlessly, and this girl starts following this horse down a path to wherever, and this of course brings her to the farm in which the next 95% of the movie takes place on. She meets so the horse kind of is up ahead, gets to the farm first, and of course this family's like, "Hey, there's this horse," and they're like, "Stay away from it. It's a war horse. That'll bring nothing but trouble." Again, one of these dastardly German planes is flying low overhead because they're like, "Oh, we gotta keep an eye on this. What's all this about?" "Oh, they're just farmers." But as it's buzzing above, this freaks the horse out. It spins around and winds up going right over top the oldest son of this farm family, which is not a good thing. I don't think it's good to get run over by a horse and wagon. It's probably not the best for your health. And then
I don't think so.
One of the other one of the cows on the farm gets unsettled by this and goes running off. So Michel, the young boy, he goes running after it. And that's when he comes across the little girl who's got the dead dog with her. And they become fast friends. and she goes and helps get the cow back, and she starts asking, like, this girl's just like, okay, this is my new life, this is my friend, and can I have a dog here? And she's like, I don't know if my dad really likes dogs. The neighbors have a dog. So she's kind of like, they're entering into this like feud between these two families that live right next door to one another. The one family seems to be like pretty fine people, pretty nice. Their son went off to fight some Germans. This family's not. It seems like one family's maybe luckier than the other, and the unluckier family blames that family for everything that goes wrong, rather than just bad luck.
Yeah, it's a lot of deflection.
Yeah.
Says, well, those sons of bitches, and there's a lot of that keeping up with the Joneses mentality here, where it's like, well, those fuckers are doing this. We got to do something more, something better.
Yeah,
Jarrett, we got to one-up them.
So this family kind of just winds up taking this young girl on, and so she's kind of hanging out, adapting to the farm life. They're like, man, she smells so nice, and they're like, no, she just smells clean. They go give her some like a glass of water that looks very chalky. And they're like, and she's like, it's dirty. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a fly in it. She just puts her hand right in there and fishes the fly out. Here you go. It's like, I just think about The Simpsons. Can I have a clean glass? Here you go, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. You know what they say? If it's brown, drink it down.
If it's black,
send it back.
Yeah. So, this is kind of like, nothing in this movie for me compares to like the opening of this. Like once things settle into the family stuff, because I was like, but I'm also like relieved, because I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this movie. Innocent people just getting mowed down for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're fine with that movie?
As long as there's no dogs in there.
Oh, there'll be dogs, RJ.
Well, I know there is in this
one. You know what this movie does have in it, though? It's got an owl. Like I
saw that. That's a real owl.
That's a real owl. It looks like
a real owl.
It looks like a Muppet.
I mean, it is pretty shocking what they got that owl to do in here. But yeah, that's a real owl, and he's there.
He's so adorable. And there's a cat.
Yeah, there's a kitty in there a little bit.
A little bit.
There's
cat.
a rat at one point.
There's a dead mole.
A mole.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little rat or something.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite see what it was,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they'd call it a mole or a vole or something.
Oh, yeah, voles are cool.
Yeah.
Voles are cool. Yep.
So, yeah, the little girl's around. She's being taught Jesus things, because this little girl living in Paris with their heathen parents, they never got around to teaching her the Lord's Prayer. And this family, they're a bunch of Bible thumpers. But in their opinion, they're the right kind of Jesus fans, and their neighbors.
Well, they're the
not.
ones who are going to tell it like it is, Jarrett.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So of course, one thing leads to another, and the son who got rode over by the horse in the wagon, he expires.
Did you explain?
He succumbs to his internal injuries, and pukes out blood, and is just dead with flies crawling all over him, as his family is like, huh, is he okay?
Yeah, is that bad?
Yeah, is that bad?
Well, I don't know. Seems okay to me.
It's okay, but very dead. And then so the family, it's a lot of coming to terms with death in this movie, RJ. And as well as this little girl coming to terms with the death of her dog, which of course is also about coming to terms with the death of her parents, who died like right beside her.
Allegedly.
Do you think they were faking it? Is that the forbidden game?
I mean,
fucking with your kid.
I mean, maybe they were just like, this chick is gonna just run out here when we're getting bombed. Maybe they were like, we've had it with her.
Let's teach her a lesson. And that's why.
Yeah, I mean, Who's to say?
What
We
a-
don't know Rene Clement.
What a reveal that would have been at the end.
If the parents walked by
Yeah.
and she saw them and they went, "Oh fuck."
No, they're like, and that's why you never run out onto the bridge.
And that's why you always leave a note, right,
Yeah,
Jarrett?
exactly. RJ,
Exactly.
you did it.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So, so he dies, and then it starts kind of going through the process of burials and funerals, and this kind of introduces this idea of crosses, because this girl, she's on a mission. She wants to bury her dog, but she's very worried that her dog's going to be alone. So they're like, well, we gotta get him some friends. And they start naming all these things they could bury along with the dog. And that's when they get the little mole from the owl who's just hanging out in the old barn building, one of the many old abandoned buildings on this farm.
You know, owls eat the bones.
Do they? I thought they hairball. Don't they pellet
They
it
hairball
up?
them out, but they eat them first, and then owl pellet. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Depends.
Just saying.
Okay. Barn owl.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so now they start getting into some macabre territory about just burying things as they find it. Little kid stuff. Kids will be kids, especially on a farm where there's not a whole heck of a lot to do. They don't have internet, for instance. So,
Not yet.
Not yet. Even nowadays, they're still on dial-up in some places.
Well,
They got that satellite hookup, but it's depending if it's too cloudy, you got nothing.
remember satellite phones
Vaguely.
With that- in movies and stuff? I
Oh,
didn't have one.
yeah.
I just mean in movies. Remember satellite phones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so these kids, the little stinkers, they start taking the fancy crosses from the cemetery to put it on their little their little pet cemetery. You know about this?
Yeah, I did hear about this. I was seeing this.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen King kind of pet
Some
cemetery.
vibes.
That's what I thought as well, and I was like, I'm sure everyone comes to this, but I mean, it's because it's there.
Yep.
It's Pet Cemetery.
Stephen King, visionary.
Wow.
He said he saw Forbidden Games and went, I could do you one better.
He said, "What about only dead things?"
Rene Clement.
He said, "Hey, Rene Clement," and then he gave him one of these. Ooh-wee.
So
That's what I would do.
the family starts blaming the other family for the disappearance of grave markers. There's a open grave scrap that happens between the two dads, and this comedic misunderstanding.
Who would? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like when it happens, they go, womp, womp.
Yeah.
They go, oh boy,
Oh boy.
oh boy.
Yeah. So, yeah, the kind of like the urgency of the war has kind of dropped away. The son from the other family, he comes back, and I can't remember what the reason why comes back early.
The son? Well, there is a thing. So like both of the family sons were in the war, right?
Right.
And then one of the rival family's son was a war hero.
Mm-hmm.
And then other son comes back. I don't think it's totally said why, but he's just there, and I think it's like embarrassing for them.
Well, I guess at
Maybe
that
he was
point, I guess
discharged?
like France has
Been taken.
been taken. It's like, well, there is no French army now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
France was
Yeah,
taken.
yeah,
and
it's the occupation now. So it's
Yeah,
like,
he's
yeah,
like,
that's the end of
might
that.
as well go
It's okay,
home.
I'm not dead. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
you son of a bitches.
Well, and at the time, it was better. Dead was better, which I think was Stephen King
Because he was there all along.
potentially saw this movie and went, sometimes dead is better. And then,
So the next kind of big dramatic moment, I guess, in my mind is when now Dad has had enough of his shitty little boy doing shitty little things, stealing grave markers. He's like, we want these back. Where are you hiding them? It's not like there's not that many places he could be hiding them. Just go take a look. He's doing some 1940 style dad leckins, giving a leckin to his boy, tossing him around this barn with the little girl looks on, and then word comes down that some French gendarmes. They come along, and they're like, "We're looking for this little girl. We've got reports. We got an orphan girl. We got to take her away." In that in that exact accent.
In the same accent?
And they're like, "Well, I mean, that's what it is. They're going to put up an argument here." And of course, like, Michelle's like, "No, you can't. Like, what if I tell you where the graves are?" He's like, "Well, I mean, where are the graves?" And he says where they were put. And then they're like, "Yeah, well, that's good to know. Anyways, yeah, you can take her away." They're like, "You son of a bitch, you lied." He's like, "Well, I never promised," which is true.
Yeah.
And
semantics.
So the kid just runs off, and they're like, "What's going on here?" He's like, kids are weird. And this kid, he rages out, and he starts just throwing those crosses into the river, the mill, I guess it is.
Yeah, he really goes for it too.
Kicking up a fit, dumping this shit away out of revenge for his dad giving up on this little girl and keeping young Paulette. And Paulette winds up at a giant church overrun with, refugees and orphans and people. A nurse comes along, puts a little note on her with a little stamp saying, "Hold on to this. Don't worry, you'll be soon at an orphanage with other girls your age, and it'll be wonderful." It's like, yeah, I've seen that movie before. It ain't. It's a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Which one?
I don't know. Devil's Backbone? Isn't that what that's about?
Oh, no, I thought you were going to say something like one of his other ones, like Pacific Rim.
Oh, that movie.
That's
it could turn into that.
I think that's what that movie's about.
So, yeah, and then the movie ends with kind of this note of like, oh, hey, she's on her own, and she sees this person that kind of, vaguely, I don't know, could be a parent. It's this emotional break of like, she wants to start looking for Michelle here. She cries out for her mom, and then she starts running off into the crowd. And then the movie ends with this, like, it's kind of got this storybook opening and ending with like a book being flipped through, and at the very end, it's like this woman's hand closing the book, and you're like, is this her looking back at her own memories? I don't know. I guess saying, hey, hey, folks. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. 12.
And
because
was it?
Even though this girl would have been like 4 years old, and this movie takes place 12 years after that, so it would have been like she would have been 16 with very adult lady hands.
What other kind of hands?
Man hands, gorilla hands.
Yeah, I like gorilla hands for myself, preferably. Yeah. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Jarrett knows what I mean. He's not drinking that pib.
Oh.
You ain't never got a pib.
I don't drink no pib. I don't fuck with that. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So the movie is based on a novel by Francois Boyer.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites.
Who originally wrote this as a screenplay, and then nobody wanted it, and then it became a novel. Got published in 1947 and became a super hot seller in America for some reason under the title "The Secret Game." And I guess this kind of reignited people's interest in making it at all, which including Rene Clement and the production house, and they went to town. And apparently, originally, it was actually only going to be like a short film within a like omnibus film. So it was like going to be like a short story just tossed in. And then that fell apart. They're like, well, I guess we're going to make the movie. And watching this, it doesn't feel like that's like the history of its production. It feels pretty complete. But at the same time, it does feel, for its runtime, it kind of like, oh, it doesn't need to be even 86 minutes long.
Not really.
Which is strange, but it feels like there should be a lot of material in this story there, but
should be. But you know how that always works.
Yup. And I guess another thing to note is just kind of the movie's film score. The score for it is this guitar solo that I actually.
Could you sound it out?
Oh, I could never do as good a job as you, RJ. Yeah, it sounds exactly like a guitar.
Well, I mean, the guitar is kind of like.
To me, it has this.
It's very moody.
Narciso Yepes.
Narciso Yeppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He supplies the score to this, which kind of permeates. It's like the opening, certain moments it kicks in, drops off. It's pretty nice. I think it works in the movie. It's kind of has a Spanish flair to it.
Like boom, 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 like that kind of Spanish.
Wow! You bring me back to sounds of Spain.
Spain is the thing that you want to know. It's a Spain.
No, so
it's Spain.
Yeah, this movie's okay. Like that's about
yeah.
That's where I'm at with this. It started off like I was like, oh man, this movie's gonna be really good, and then it kind of like then it's farm times. And watching the kids burying stuff and really being about crosses. It reminds me of Spirit of the Beehive, which I think is a much better movie because it's got Frankenstein's in it. This movie sorely does not have a scene of the family going to see a movie. Could have used it. And that movie has the backdrop of the Spanish Civil War.
And this movie also has no Frankensteins.
That's what I'm saying.
Hardly any. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which isn't ideal. But
really fucked up, Rene.
Well, I mean, what is this guy even... Like, what's his deal, really? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. So, yeah... I don't know. I have not much more to say about this. As far as, like, war movies...
What is it good for?
Yeah. It's very pastoral. And I just wasn't really inspired by any of the family dynamics. Like the dad's just kind of like he's the peasant dad who's kind of a jerk, sometimes well-meaning, but a lot of times a jerk, and then everyone else is kind of just a sideshow to the father-son dynamics. Everyone's just kind of along for the ride. And then there's the family, because like, you just imagine like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon playing this. Neighbors,
what do you think would happen?
Neighbors who can't stand each other.
some yucks or what?
Sure, this movie could easily transfer into yucks with a dead dog and dead parents, and making a little burial mound for animals.
For the Tom Six crowd, maybe.
Yeah, or a good friend Tom Six.
Well, I wouldn't say R. Not our friend.
RJ's very close friend. Tommy.
I know Tommy Bahama. Is that the same guy?
Clearly.
Is that the same dude or?
No, it's not.
Not Tommy Bahama?
No. So anyway, RJ, what did you think of Forbidden Games?
Forbidden Games. Did you mean to pronounce that like Hank Hill?
Either the 1952 version or the 1995 version.
I mean, I wish I had
the nude modeling agency.
I mean, that sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jarrett, and I don't say this to you very often because this is a partnership, we're a team. But I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't also acquire that film for us.
Well, it is it is available on spankbank.com.
I know, but you need a credit card?
I don't know. It might just be the YouTube of masturbation.
I don't have that. The bank wouldn't give me one. So Forbidden Games, war. What is it good for? You know what I've noticed, and I think I brought this up before, but it really bugged me this week. It's got nothing to do with the Criterion, but you know how a lot of Criterion films are Studio Canal movies? I find the Studio Canal intro incredibly obnoxious.
You've mentioned this before.
I fucking can't stand it. And it's so loud and it's so overly long. Am I crazy? Like, is it? I know I am, but like, is it annoying to you too?
No, I'm indifferent. It just reminds me. I guess for like a Criterion fan, the Studio Canal, everything it represents should annoy you because like it broke the collection up.
I don't care about any of that.
That's like, I think only thing that like it triggers in me. Beyond that, I'm like, it's just like any like shitty studio like title thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know why people would be mad about that. I don't care about any of that. I just don't like. I just think it's obnoxious and it annoys me. Anyways, when I started this movie, I went through a wild range of emotions because I had the Studio Canal intro and I went, ugh. I went, already that's a bad sign for this movie that was made 50 years
and this is
before
also
Studio Canal was
this is
created.
Studio Canal intro number 3, in the last 3 weeks.
Yes, and it bugs me. So anyways, that got me off on a bad spot. But then this intro is hard black. It's just like a full black screen for a very long time, Jarrett. I don't know if you noticed that. It's a very long time, and then it just cuts to bombing, and you're just like, whoa, just really throwing us in there. But I found the intro to this movie peculiar, not bad, not like good, not somewhere in between where you're just like very long hard cut of black, and then it kind of cuts into other things, and then I went, oh, weird. Very weird. But anyways, this movie's a mixed bag for me. I'm right along where you are, where it's like, this is just a movie. But it's got some stuff I love. It's got some good Catholic roots in there, baby. I mean, they're praising the Lord. They're giving him bread. They're, making crosses. Thought that was cool. I more or less liked this. Or like I like the story with the kids like stealing the crosses because they like not like misunderstand it, but like they misplace what they think that thing is, and then they use it in different areas, and like not like that a cross represents anything in particular. I don't mean that. I just mean like the kids hear what they take it as what they hear, and then they try to go do it. It's like that's what kids do. It could be like crosses. It could be like, I don't know, bike tires. If they hear a lot about bike tires, they're going to go do that too. You know what I mean? So I like that part of it. I did like the mowing down of people in the intro. I was like, yeah.
You're a fan.
Well, I mean, war is a bad thing, Jarrett. War is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. That's cool. War's bad. You should show it. I wasn't much a fan of whatever was going on with that dog. Because that dog was 100% not okay in real life. And I went, that's not good. So I don't like that. And then I also very much disliked the treatment of the dog corpse for about 20 minutes of this film. And I'm pretty sure they just used a dead dog for that. I can't say with 100% certainty. But I'm pretty confident that was just a dead dog.
There's a variety of
there's
dog
a scene where you can tell it's like a taxidermy dog that's like stiff and all.
Which
you can tell
RJ, if it was taxidermy, it was a real dog.
Yes, it was.
But then there's also a stuffed animal. There's definitely a stuffy thing, and when it's a little bit more has more give to it. And then there's the times where it's like a dog that they've drugged?
Sedated?
Yeah, because we get some like twitching dog action.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and like I think what it is there's like certain like barbiturates I think that cause like psychomotor like twitches or something like that, where it's like it sedates you, but then it makes your limbs twitch.
Well, dogs also like when they sleep, they kick when they're dreaming, when they're chasing after a big bunny.
Yeah, usually that doesn't happen when you get picked up, and it doesn't continue. So that's the implication there that something more.
It's a deep sleep.
That's the implication that something more is happening. But yeah, so I mean that stuff's all bad. So I wasn't on board with any of that. Other than that, I do like the story of orphan girl getting taken into family. I thought that was pretty good. I liked that kind of downplay, and I got mild enjoyment out of the families being super petty with each other and just being like, well, our son's a better war hero. He's dead. And then the other family's like, fuck, we got to kill our son. Our son's a real piece of shit for not dying over there. And you're like, that's silly, but it works. I like that. I did like the aftermath of. I did like that the kids were like, they got caught, and then also the family's just like, you kids are real pieces of shit, you know that, right?
Mhm.
And the kids are like, oh, are we? And it's like, yeah. And they just leave it there. They're like, yeah. There's no even like, yeah, you did a bad thing, but you know, you're a kid. It's just, no, yeah, you suck. And then you go, oh shit, this is old school, old European parenting. I get it. I get it. So I thought that was cool. This movie is got a lot of real sad beats, like that scene in the train station where it's like, here's your tag,
Oh yeah.
and someone will collect you, and then you're just like, oh fuck.
Is
Like,
this
this is dark stuff.
Was it?
I mean, this is reality, but this is dark.
Is it Matilda? Is Matilda an orphan?
Maybe, yeah, something like that.
Or is that a girls' school? I don't know.
Well, Matilda's a movie directed by Danny DeVito.
Yeah, well, but there's also, I mean, that is Matilda. It's based on
A book
the
or a play.
Roald Dahl novel.
And yeah,
Matilda Wormwood, also known by her adoptive name Matilda Honey.
it's because she's adopted by Miss Honey, the teacher.
There you go,
Miss Honey. But yeah, so you got that. That's some dark stuff. The ending itself is kind of strange. Like she just kind of runs off, and you go, "Is this a happy ending, or is this a sad ending?"
It's a sad ending, RJ.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. Where I was just like, I think some people could see it as like, "Oh no, she's good," and it's like,
It's melancholic.
I think some bad stuff's going on here. There's
Who wants to be alone? Because like it's like this is the thing, right? It's like, so her parents are dead, her dog's dead, and then she found a family that she was enjoying living with, and then the institution comes along saying, "Oh, we know what's better for you," and they're like, "Well, yeah, I mean that's the system," and now she's like, "Oh, now you're alone, but now you get to start all over again."
Yep.
And
Again.
yeah,
and yeah, so that's sad.
the way of the road, bubs.
The way of the road. Yeah, this movie's got a lot of sad stuff. There's another level here with like the son who like brings the girl in, and then the family like very clearly likes the little girl better than they like him, and then he's all jealous and shit, and you're like, I mean, as a 60-year-old man, you're kind of like, whatever, kids. But like I think younger people with kids would probably relate to that a little bit more. What was I gonna say? The Pet Cemetery stuff I think is a little goofy. I get it. I know why it's in here, but it is a little goofy. Shit, man. I was gonna say something good. I had a real zinger for you, and now I think I forgot it.
Was it about serial killer vibes?
Oh, so okay. That wasn't quite it, but so Andrew and I have been watching Criminal Minds a lot lately, which I know you know of, but like it is garbage television. Like it's pretty trashy. It's not very good, but it fills a void of time when I'm working and stuff. I have it on in the background. This really kind of touched into that for me, because it's like there are these kids who are like actively trying to find dead stuff to fill their cemetery, and it's just like, because I'm watching the show a lot, it's like I know where that leads, where you're trying to find dead stuff, and then it's like, well, I can't find anything dead. I gotta make something dead so that I can put that in the pet cemetery, and you know how that spirals and spirals. So that's one bit. One other thing I just remembered is, did you notice the frequency at how many times there was flies on people's faces in this movie?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I counted at least 8.
Mm-hmm.
There are at least 8 separate scenes.
They are in the country.
I know they are, but do you know any other movie that has at least 8 separate scenes with flies landing on people's faces in frame, and they just keep going as if there isn't a fly on their face? Because that happens 8 separate times in this
Probably
film.
a lot of westerns.
Well, maybe
authentic ones.
Maybe in a couple of like the real westerns, you know, like Chateau's Land. That's probably got one or two of those in there.
Mm-hmm.
Chateau's Land. Do you know that one? You know Chateau's Land?
Oh, I know it well. Also, yeah. Charles Bronson.
Yes. Yes. So, anyways, this movie's fine. There's some good stuff in it. There's some bad stuff in it. Or not bad. There's some good stuff in it. There's some whatever stuff in it. But it is strange that it is unavailable to the world, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking on a review of it on Amazon from somebody here. Since no one else has mentioned it, animal lovers beware. This is from Jabroni in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
What about the poor dog? Yes, most of the time the dead dog was portrayed by a fake, but the scenes of the dog twitching as it was dying, that was a real dog having real neurological problems. And no matter how generous I am, I cannot conceive of a 1952 French Humane Society representative standing there as a licensed veterinarian gave the dose the dog a dose of something harmless and reversible that would produce that behavior. Not when doing something far more gruesome would produce the same results far more cheaply. And oddly, in the scene when she retrieved the dog from the bushes to go bury it, that was either an unconscious dog or a dead dog, not a replica. No way. I call animal abuse. I would love to be proven wrong as it haunts me. And yes, I understand worrying about one injured then dead dog while speaking of the horrors of war exposes me as an animal nut. So be it. But the actors were acting while the dog was not. I am certain of it. Is this you, RJ?
I mean, no, I agree with it completely. Like, yeah, horrors of war, whatever. But you know what's even more horrific than the horrors that mankind once did? Is the horrors that mankind continues to do.
Including war.
Including war, yeah.
And you know what happens in wars?
Is bad.
Animals die in those too. Everyone dies. Everything's bad. And then sometimes people make movies about it.
Well, I mean, I agree. It's as shitty as it would look. Just put a fucking fake dog in there. Who gives a shit? Like, who cares about authenticity? Nobody.
Rene Clement did.
Well, fuck that guy. He's French. Who gives a shit?
Wow. There it is.
Yeah, well, I mean French-Canadian.
There it is.
Which I can speak to because I'm Canadian, so I'm allowed.
No. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, let's see who hates this movie, where we're going to hear a lot more about that dog. From Lucia Lara, half a star. I don't care if the movie is from another time. The animal cruelty in this film, it's unbearable. I had nightmares with the dead of the puppy. We can even see the dog in a tremendous agony. What a horrible dead. What did they do to the poor dog? You are burning on hell, Rene Clement.
Yeah, I get down with that sentiment. We're talking about Lucia Lara.
Lucia Lara?
Lucia Lara. No favorite films, but they do have 45-star films, including Joker. Remember Joker, Jarrett?
I remember that movie.
Yeah. Also 5 stars to Rocket Man, and 5 stars to Beauty and the Beast. Pretty good shows, Jarrett. 5 stars to Mary Poppins. Let's check out some half-star films. Just one, Forbidden Games. Check out some 1-star films. The Two Popes and Deadpool. There's other things in here, but those are the two that stand out most to me.
Next, we've got Mika, 1 star. After the dog was thrown into the water, I clocked out. Poor pup.
I mean, yeah, I agree with all these people. I think it's really shitty. This person likes Hamilton, Spiral, and these are favorite films, by the way. Spiral, the Chris Rock film, Jarrett.
You mean Saw 10 or whatever?
Spiral, the Book of Saw, is what the title on Letterboxd says.
Cool.
Footloose and Fear Street, 1994.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of them. Like, the animal stuff is pretty bad, but you know.
Next up, we have Maze Craze.
Okay. Or
it could be Mazy Crazy. 1 star. Look, I like movies. I'm not.
I mean, anyone using Letterboxd Isn't it's like if I find an account on Letterboxd and it says I fucking hate movies. I hate every movie I ever watch. It's like, why are you on here then, bud?
Yeah, well, why do you do a movie podcast?
Well, I mean, we hate movies for a different reason. It's because we're contractually obligated to watch these things.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you using Letterboxd?
May I continue?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, I like movies. I'm not going into this expecting some war drama. I've seen what? I've seen other French films from the era, and I love them. I've seen other slow-moving dramas, and I love them. But this movie, this fucking movie, it is so boring I couldn't handle it. A sloth would get angry at this movie for moving too slowly. If it moves at all. There are some neighbors who the main characters hate, but it is never explained why. And the neighbors don't fucking do anything but react to the main characters being insane. But not fun insane.
That's not a complaint.
They are just paranoid weirdos in a way that's so boring it blew my mind. I quit with 20 minutes left to listen to A$AP Rock instead. At least he fucking does something in the entire hour and 20 minutes of his album.
I've listened to A$AP Rocky. He's fine. I don't know why it's being compared in here. I don't understand the relevance. I don't get it. I don't know about Mazy Crazy, but other 1-star. So they gave Forbidden Games 1-star. Other 1-star films include the Adam Sandler films 8 Crazy Nights, Click, and 50 First Dates. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say none of those deserve 1 star. I don't care. They also gave half a star to Evil Dead 2, Jarrett. And 5 stars to things like... these are all good movies. 5-star films. I don't know. Yeah. No.
Got one more for you.
Okay.
J.C. Morgan's.
Ooh.
1.5 star.
Okay.
The first 10 minutes are absolutely incredible, and then there's another 80 minutes left. I've wanted to see this for a while now, and I can't help but feel disappointed. The soundtrack, however, is god tier, so it got a 0.5 star for that.
The soundtrack is?
Yeah. Yo, you do boo.
They gave 5 stars to Showa, which seems bad.
What?
This person gave 5 stars to Showa.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I haven't seen Showa. But I don't think I'm going to give it 5 stars when we do watch it.
Well, I mean, I think it's like a Night and Fog type of deal.
Yeah, so that's best unrated.
Which is like less than that's bad. Which I was like,
well,
I beg your pardon.
I mean, no, I don't think Showa is bad. I just mean like, I don't know. When people give 5 stars to things like Showa, like all I know about Showa is it's an 8-hour movie. I don't know anything else about Showa. And just like 8 hours seems like a lot of hours.
It's a few.
You know what I mean?
Several even.
Several. This person also 5 stars. A lot of Doctor Who stuff, which is...
Oh, dear.
It's just universally acceptable, like easily accessible sci-fi, which I find... I don't like Doctor Who.
Doctor Who is, like, I think, even if you're a fan, 3 stars at most.
Yeah.
Across the board, at most.
At most. They 5-starred Last Night in Soho, which we all know how we feel.
5-starred it, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just found something strange, though. In their half stars, they have some Doctor Who in the half stars as well. Wow. So they either love the Doctor Who or they hate the Doctor Who. Half stars also include Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I can get behind that. Half star to Trash Humpers.
Oh,
and here's one for you, Jarrett, that is strange. Half star to The Dancing Pig from 1907.
Who could half a star that?
How could you half a star that? It's, what is it, 2 minutes long or something like that?
Yep.
It's 2 minutes long. It's just a guy in a pig suit. What are you mad about? The fucking movie was made 113 years ago. What are you mad about?
Man, I'm getting angry just thinking about how old it is.
114 years ago, Jarrett. That's how old that movie is.
Damn.
Why are you giving it a half a star? I don't get it.
It gets them hot.
I mean, it's just like, why? Don't fucking rate it. Stop rating stuff, people.
Yeah.
Don't rate anything. Rate this.
Yeah. Well, that's the Forbidden Games, RJ.
Sure it is.
I mean, there wasn't a single psychic detective, so that was a bummer.
Yeah. I mean,
Not all Criterion films can have psychic detectives finding clues.
well, I mean, it's
banging
more
broads.
it's more of an intuition, is how I would describe it.
Yeah.
He just has an intuition for things where he says, "I think there's something here," and then he discovers it, which is a great loophole for the genre. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about the same thing?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. Any final thoughts?
I mean, I don't like the dog stuff. Everyone knows that. Everything other than that is
Good
fine.
to fine.
Good to fine. Nothing better than good, though.
Yeah, there was potential in these moments.
Yeah.
These like glimmers of like, ooh, man.
Yep.
But it's just not there. I don't know. It's okay.
It's fine.
After the break, RJ and I are going to start up our own little cemetery out in the mill. But it's not going to be animals that we're burying.
No.
It's going to be Studio Canal.
Studio Canal.
Fuck 'em.
And Criterion fans. You know.
Tremendous handling.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. They stopped listening. It's fine. There's no fan of Criterion Collection left.